Really, walk me through the past couple of games versus Mouse Sports, looking at the strategies, looking at what they were going up against. Starting off with Korkova's Tinker and what you guys did to counteract that.
Yeah, I don't know. We just decided to farm up some core items and then go for pickoffs and
Mm-hmm.
fights. I guess, I mean, it's one of the most annoying heroes to play against, I would say, Tinker, especially when they have Beastmaster Bird and he's like TPing into our jungle and farming, and Naki was whining about like suddenly there was a march coming in the forest and he was like, "What the fuck is going on? Who's farming my jungle?" But I don't know. We just kept kept it cool and waited for some important items, and I think that getting BKBs in that game was quite huge for us. And especially since we have Shen, it's easier for us to like siege the base and such. And then we go for a double satanic on our carries to be able to like regen up if they actually go in for us. And I mean, we had quite a good flow in the game. So
Mm-hmm.
after we got some pickoffs on him and we knew he didn't have buyback, we were able to enter the base pretty much.
Going into the draft, did you plan on going for a dual core, like a SF on the mid lane from S4?
Well, I wouldn't say we plan on doing it from the beginning, but I mean when you see the heroes Mouse picks up and you can see that they are actually going for quite a greedy lineup, and especially because of the Naga, SF is a very great hero. I mean Manta is really good against Naga, dodging the net, and then you can also once you get the BKB, you can just pretty much counter the sleep initiates that they try to do. And we we pretty much, I don't know if it was me or EJM or someone who came with the suggestion that we should try SF for mid because it's against the Beastmaster and we have the Shen as well. So
Sure.
yeah, it was just improvisation, I would say.
Okay, so kind of improvised it there. Why not? Looking at the lineup and looking at how many summons and such they had, were you familiar with Koiko's Tinker, and did you consider banning it out for your fifth ban?
Well, actually, we kind of knew that they were gonna try to go for the Tinker. I would say the others here mentioned that they ran a similar strategy, I think, during EMS.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, sure, we fear his Tinker a little bit, but I don't know. It just didn't. We didn't really have space to ban it out, so we just decided to play against it.
Sure. So throughout the match and throughout the entire cup, who would you say was your personal opinion for MVP on your team?
That's a very very hard question. I mean, I can pretty much not recall all the games we've been playing. So let's say it's been a tie between 5 players.
Nicely done. Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys are so darn strong together. Individually, there might be some mistakes, but when it comes down to clicking it, it's just really, really strong. You guys play some amazing Dota at really well-timed style, and obviously you've had great success. Now, recently you've had a couple of smaller losses. Like you get a couple 2-0 losses here. You had Mouse Sports take you down early in the Aegis Cup, and then Akaipi took you down in another. What would you attribute to those losses, and did that kind of shake you up a little bit as far as looking at TI3 and what you needed to do to move in for that?
I just think that I just think we were playing quite sloppy, to be honest, and we had a kind of slump for over a week or so, maybe even 2 weeks, and we've been practicing a lot and we've been playing a lot of different styles just to see how versatile we can be and try a lot of different stuff. So we just got into a bad flow, I would say. I mean, our opponents that we lost against are not bad opponents, but I just think that it was more about ourselves than the players we faced or the teams we faced. And I mean, to solve it, we spoke about it several days, and in the beginning it wasn't so easy to get out of, but now it seems to work out. So I mean, it helps talking, I suppose.
Sure. Do you get a lot of time for that while you're boot camping? Just kind of analyzing games and talking about the team as a whole?
Well, we do have a lot of time for it, but maybe we don't do it as much as we should. I think maybe we just played a bit too many games and didn't really analyze what we actually did in the scrims and so on. So we have the time, and we will keep doing it.
Definitely. In the short time that you've been boot camping, would you say that you've grown a little bit as a team, or kind of just making sure that you're polished going on into the international?
Yeah, of course. I think we have grown as a team, but I think it's what's the most important during boot camps. I think is just getting into the right mindset. I mean, and in a way, it was good to have a slump before TA3 because then we know how to handle it, and hopefully that won't happen at TA3, even if we do bad during the group stage, or I mean, maybe we get kicked out down to the loser bracket or something like that. I think we will still have the confidence to be able to bounce back, and I mean, that's what Dota is about. You need to be able to play well every single day, and I think that's what we've been working on pretty much. We've just been playing a lot of games because TA3 is gonna be so crazy when it comes to playing. So I think that's what we have been focusing on.
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely think it's best to be able to put your losses behind you there and realize that in the end they weren't that consequential. I mean, you still not only qualified first seed for the Premier Cup.
I mean, to be honest, the matches were quite quite hard losses, especially since it was like we got kicked out of the defense. We just didn't reach the D12 finals in Valencia and such. So I mean, it was demoralizing, but I think it was more demoralizing because we just played bad and we couldn't really. Usually, if we lose a game, we can look at that game and we can know what we did wrong and move forward. And we pretty much knew what we did wrong, but we couldn't really move forward swiftly enough. So that was really hard for the whole team, I would say. But yeah, it's good to lose sometimes, as I tend to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And then with that, you get to rebound a little bit, take what you learned from it, and move in towards. I mean, the biggest tournament of the year, obviously, is TI. So
I just think it's very important that you don't take anything for granted. I mean, even if you're a strong team, sometimes you can get a bit too relaxed, and that can escalate in some ways because I don't know, because you know when you're on the top, you can win a lot of games when you're actually playing not so well, and we can actually end up trolling during the games. I mean, not trolling a lot, but we can the mindset while we're playing is actually not as serious as people would think. We could just run around and do our own shit pretty much, and then go for team fights and kind of turn the game. But every team has been practicing very, very hard, and every team has become better and better. So I think it was a wake-up call, pretty much.
Absolutely. So going into the international, do you have anything else coming up before TI, or is it just straight up looking towards that?
No, I think this was our last official actually before TA3. Yeah, I'm quite confident it is. And there's not much we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be, I mean, except for screaming, obviously, we're just gonna be finalizing our play styles, what we feel confident about, the lanes. I mean, lately Dota has been changing a lot when it comes to what kind of lanes teams try to run, and teams actually play very, very different from each other, and it makes it harder to read them. So I just think we will just end up being so confident that we're not afraid to do anything, and I think confidence is the key factor to winning. I mean, sure, of course you need the skill as well, but I think people underrate how important it is for a team to have good team spirits, because if you have really good team spirits, you can turn any game, no matter how difficult it is. So it's going to be very interesting. It's quite stressful going to TA3. I mean, it's the most prestigious tournament. We are very excited to go there and everything. But I mean, of course, there's still a bit of stress. So maybe we'll just work on our, I don't know, keeping calm in stressful situations.
Yeah, most definitely. So, beyond what we were kind of talking about and the way the game is changing, how do you feel that Alliance is able to change with it? Do you think your draft has kind of been up to date with the recent changes and such like that? I mean, there are some teams that think they kind of found you out. Like, for example, that's what Cinderin said in his interview before going into match versus Navi. So, obviously, you showed them right here, but do you feel that your draft has gone a little bit predictable, or do you still have plenty of tricks up your sleeve?
Sure. I think rather than our draft, maybe our playstyle was a bit predictable, and that's something I've been talking to my team about a lot when it comes to our movement around the map, and you can see some reoccurring movements around the map, and that's something we just had to, as I said, sit down and talk about. So we actually have like plans for everything that we're doing. Sometimes you can get stuck into a normal gameplay that you usually do, like you move mid to maybe predict a gank or whatever. But if we always do that, the opponents will obviously read us. But when it comes to, I think most teams are actually quite easy to read, and I think that's just how Dota is. Teams generally stay true to their own style, and I mean, I would say Mouse is extremely easy to read as well, but that doesn't mean they cannot beat us just because we know how they play, because as long as they do it really well, they will still win the game. I mean, the better team will win the game if you're not completely outpicked, obviously. But I just think that, I don't know, I think certain teams are good against certain teams as well. Mouse is generally a good team against us. Because their play style is something we have some difficulty handling, and at the same time I think Mouse has a very hard time playing against Navi and their aggressive play style. They rely a lot on the laning phase and such. So yeah, I think if people think that they can read us, that's fine. We will always have some tricks up our sleeves, and we'll see if they're prepared enough at TA3.
Most definitely we will. Yeah, I guess, knowing is only half the battle. The other half, how many Integral Procs Admiral Bulldog gets. But, yeah. Good game. Yeah. The end result, good game. Well played to you guys. I mean, those were, of course, very solid matches, very convincing wins, and maybe you don't learn as much from the ones where you just completely roll all over, but the losses, as you mentioned, are definitely experiences to learn from, and as always, it's very fun for the viewers to be able to see you in your form, especially with confidence to go in and root for you over in Seattle.
Yeah, and we're very happy that our fans has been, even if we've been having a couple of rough days or maybe 2 weeks or 1 week, I'm not sure, our fans have still been very supportive and like kept cheering us on, and I mean most of them at least. There has been some flame going on, but we knew that would come, but we are very excited going into TA3, and it's just going to be such an awesome tournament no matter how it goes.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much for, of course, joining us for the whole season, and then right now joining us for this postseason interview. Obviously, you guys took away a hefty sum from the tournament, so very nicely done, and just great games. Well played to you guys. Do you have any quick shout-outs you want to go on through before you head on out?
Shout out to my whole great team. Shout out to Ake's girlfriend, Bumi, who's sitting here behind us. She's keeping our apartment clean. A big shout out to my girlfriend, who's been making sure that we get fresh food every single day, and she get us motivated by saying that we won't get food if we don't win. So
well, there you go. You just have to win then. Oh, is that what somebody hadn't eaten in 30 hours? You think that has something to do with it?
Shout out to all the fans in the Alliance fan club on Steam.
Yeah, you hear there's a lot of shoutouts going on, and of course, final shout out to our awesome sponsors, XMG, Monster, and Racer. Without them, we could never have gone this far, and yeah, we're very happy to have them as our sponsors.
Cool, man, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the interview again, and of course, best of luck with you guys in your scrimming, your practicing, and in your preparation for Seattle.
Okay, thanks, man.
See you, man.
See you.